What's up, world? So today we are going to focus on my favorite section of the TOEFL, the writing. Words, grammar, paragraphs, all of it. There are 2 tasks for the writing section on the TOEFL, but today we are only focusing on the independent task. So let's go ahead and get started.
Hey, my name's Mike, but my students call me Teacher Mike. I've taught English for the past 7 years, from Thailand to Hawaii to Washington, D.C. I've taught exam classes, business classes, and general English classes, and I pretty much love it all. So sit tight and let me share something with you.
First, this is an opinion-based essay. So you have to answer a question using your own experiences, opinions, and examples. Here's an example question. What is the best climate to live in? Give reasons and examples to support your response. Okay, let's take an example. How about my opinion? And for me, my answer to this question is, the best climate to live in is a hot tropical island climate. I am partial to the islands in Hawaii. So that's the first part. You have to answer the question. Second, you have a 30-minute time limit on this essay. And 30 minutes is not a long time. So you have to use that time very carefully. Here is a suggested use of that 30 minutes. Take about 2, maybe 3 minutes at the beginning to plan your essay. Write down your ideas, your simple answer to the question, your reasons why. Then give yourself at least 20 minutes to actually write. And 20 minutes goes by really quickly. But that's okay, because planning before will help you to maximize that 20 or so minutes. And finally, at the end, give yourself, again, about 2 or 3 minutes to go through and edit, revise, change things if you made mistakes, because we all do it. Third, then there is the word count. So we are shooting for about 300 words. That shows that you have the ability to manipulate and draw out examples big enough for a 4 or 5 paragraph essay. A little tip for word count. You don't want to spend time in your tests, no matter what test it is, counting words. This is something you should be familiar with before you take the test. Type 100 words and see how much that is. Type 200 words and see how much that is. That way, in the real test, you already know, okay, I've written about 200 words. Fourth and final point, the keyboard. So the ETS company, they use a QWERTY keyboard in their exams. And if you don't know what that means, Google. This is the type of keyboard that is most prevalent or common in the United States, so you need to be familiar with this type of keyboard. Often I have students from Europe, from East Asia, and they come and they see our keyboard and they're like, oh my god, I can't use this. Well, you're going to have to, so be aware of that. So there we go. 4 things that you will need to expect in the TOEFL independent writing task. First, it's an opinion-based essay. Second, you have 30 minutes to do this. Third, you're shooting for about 300 words. And fourth, be familiar with a QWERTY keyboard. Okay, so let's break this essay down into 4 beautiful parts. First, we have pre-writing, and some people call this outlining, but I recommend this happens before you start typing your essay in those 2 to 3 minutes at the beginning. You can turn your actual outline ideas into paragraphs for your essay. Second, we have the introduction. This is a big and difficult part of the essay, so let's take a minute and break this down to some different parts. In your introduction, you have your background information, you have your answer to the question, and then you have your reasons for that answer. Let's plan an introduction using our example question about climate. What is the best climate to live in? Give reasons and examples for your response. Let's start with some background information. How do we start an essay about the best climate? A suggestion: give your readers a simple anecdote related to the topic. Here's an example. I am from a cold, mountainous place, and I often struggled through the winters. That's a little bit of background information about my experience related to the topic of climate. Now we have to answer the question based off of your background information. Here I would say, this experience leads me to believe that the best type of climate is a warm tropical island climate. Finally, you tell them why you think the way you do. For this example, I would say, the reason why I believe a tropical island climate is the best, because 1, it's close to the ocean, so I love water sports and I can do that. But also the clothing, I can wear comfortable light clothing in hot weather. Don't go into detail yet on your reasons. That comes next in the main paragraphs or the body paragraphs. Third, let's talk about the body paragraphs. Going back to our example, I had 2 reasons why a warm tropical climate is the best climate. 1, water sports, and 2, clothing. Now we take both of those reasons and write 1 paragraph for each. For example, after my introduction paragraph, I take my first reason, water sports. What is the relationship between a warm tropical climate and water sports? This is where I tell them and write examples. I write what kind of water sports I like to do, that type of detail. And then I take that same process for reason number 2. And I write another paragraph, but focusing on clothing. Now, one thing I often see in student essays is their body paragraphs are unbalanced. Maybe they have a really strong body paragraph that's maybe 5 or 6 sentences long, and then the next body paragraph is like 2 sentences. You want to balance these paragraphs. So how long should they be? The same length, about 5 or so sentences is best. Finally, the conclusion. Similar to the introduction, it's difficult because students often don't know what else to say. I already wrote an introduction with my opinion. I already wrote paragraphs with reasons and examples. So what do you want me to write? Well, take your answer and the reasons and rephrase them. So don't use the exact same sentences as the introduction. Try it another way. But also, here's a question I ask my students to help them write the conclusion. So what? So what? Who cares? Why does it matter? This question helps students write a more meaningful conclusion. So it tells your reader why the information you are writing is important. So there you have it. Those are my 4 tips for writing the TOEFL independent task. You have pre-writing or outlining, and then you have the introduction, which is made up of background information, your answer to the question, and reasons. Then you have your body paragraphs, and finally your conclusion or answering the question, so what? And that's it for this video. If it helped you, go ahead and like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. If there's anything I can help you with, comment below. Until next time, peace!